Hello everyone, and welcome to this engaging session on biology for NEET Class 11. Today, we are diving deep into the fascinating world of Kingdom Monera as part of our Biological Classification chapter. Get ready to explore the simplest yet most diverse forms of life on our planet. We'll embark on a 4-level journey, starting with the basics, moving to medium, hard, and finally, the most challenging concepts, ensuring a comprehensive understanding for your NEET preparations. Let's begin. Let's kick things off with the easy level, where we'll uncover the fundamental characteristics of these tiny, yet powerful, organisms. Kingdom Monera is all about the most ancient and simplest life forms, the microscopic organisms found almost everywhere. They are unique because they are the only group classified as prokaryotes. What does that mean? Well, their cells lack a true nucleus and other membrane-bound organelles, making their genetic material free-floating. They are always single-celled, and most have a cell wall, though it's chemically distinct from plants or fungi. Monerans also exhibit incredibly diverse ways of getting food, from making their own through photosynthesis or chemosynthesis, to absorbing nutrients as decomposers, or even living as parasites. So, who are these monerans? The most common examples you'll encounter are bacteria and cyanobacteria. Bacteria are truly ubiquitous. They can be found everywhere, playing roles from causing diseases like tuberculosis to being incredibly beneficial, such as the bacteria in our gut that aid digestion, or those in the soil that fix nitrogen for plants. Then there are cyanobacteria, often called blue-green algae. These are photosynthetic bacteria, commonly found in aquatic environments, and sometimes they can even form large blooms, turning water bodies green. Now, let's test your understanding with a few quick questions. First, which characteristic fundamentally defines organisms in Kingdom Monera? Second, can you give two common examples of organisms belonging to this kingdom? And finally, do monerans possess a true nucleus? Explain your answer briefly. Take a moment to think about these before moving on. Alright, moving on to the medium level. Here, we'll delve a bit deeper into the intricate structure and diverse life processes of monerans. Kingdom Monera exclusively houses all prokaryotic organisms. The term prokaryote literally means before nucleus, highlighting their ancient and simpler cellular design. They are the sole members of this kingdom in Whittaker's 5-kingdom classification. Despite their simplicity, monerans are incredibly adaptable, thriving in an astonishing range of habitats, from the most benign to the most extreme. Their cellular structure, though primitive, is highly efficient. Their genetic material is typically a single, circular chromosome of naked DNA, residing in a region called the nucleoid. They often also carry plasmids, which are small, extrachromosomal DNA circles that can carry genes for things like antibiotic resistance, a crucial point we'll explore later. Delving into their cellular anatomy, moneran cells possess 70 S ribosomes, which are the sites of protein synthesis and the only organelles they have. Most monerans, specifically eubacteria, have a cell wall primarily composed of peptidoglycan, offering vital structural support and protection. Archaebacteria, however, have a chemically distinct cell wall. Beneath this wall lies the cell membrane, which is selectively permeable. For movement, some motile bacteria are equipped with flagella. In terms of nutrition, monerans are masters of diversity. Autotrophs can be photosynthetic, using light, or chemosynthetic, oxidizing inorganic substances for energy. Heterotrophs can be saprophytic, acting as decomposers, or parasitic, causing diseases. Reproduction in monerans is primarily asexual, with the most common method being binary fission. This is a rapid process where a single cell simply divides into two identical daughter cells under favorable conditions. While they don't undergo true sexual reproduction, they do engage in genetic recombination through processes like conjugation, transformation, and transduction, which allows for genetic variation. A remarkable adaptation for survival in harsh conditions is endospore formation. Some bacteria can form these highly resistant, dormant structures to withstand extreme heat, drought, or radiation, lying dormant until conditions improve. Time for some medium-level practice questions. First, what is the primary genetic material found in a monerin cell? Second, name the specific type of ribosomes found in prokaryotic cells. Third, differentiate between photosynthetic and chemosynthetic autotrophs based on their energy source. Fourth, explain the process of binary fission as a mode of reproduction. And finally, what are plasmids and what is their significance in bacteria? Take your time to formulate comprehensive answers. Alright, let's elevate our understanding with a hard level. Here, we'll draw distinctions, analyze significance, and explore deeper concepts. Kingdom Monera is broadly divided into two major groups, Archaebacteria and Eubacteria. Archaebacteria, often called ancient bacteria, are renowned for being extremophiles, thriving in incredibly harsh environments like hot springs or highly saline areas. They stand apart from eubacteria due to fundamental differences in their cell wall composition, cell membrane structure, and unique ribosomal RNA sequences. Eubacteria, or true bacteria, represent the vast majority of bacteria we encounter. They are incredibly diverse, found virtually everywhere, and encompass a wide range of forms and metabolic capabilities. Understanding these differences is key to appreciating their distinct evolutionary paths and ecological roles. Let's look at a detailed comparison. In terms of the cell wall, eubacteria have peptidoglycan, while archaebacteria do not, instead using pseudomurine or other proteins. Their cell membranes also differ significantly. Archaebacteria use unique branch-chain lipids with ether linkages, which contributes to their stability in extreme conditions, whereas eubacteria have straight-chain lipids with ester linkages. This fundamental difference in membrane architecture is a major distinguishing factor. Archaebacteria's rRNA sequences are also distinctive and actually share more similarities with eukaryotes than with eubacteria, suggesting a closer evolutionary relationship. This table highlights these crucial differences, helping us classify and understand these two ancient lineages. Monerans are ecologically and economically indispensable. As decomposers, saprophytic bacteria tirelessly recycle nutrients from dead organic matter, making them available for new life. Nitrogen-fixing bacteria, whether free-living or symbiotic like Rhizobium, convert atmospheric nitrogen into usable forms like ammonia and nitrates, a process vital for plant growth and the entire food chain. On the flip side, many bacteria are pathogenic, causing diseases in humans, animals, and plants. However, bacteria are also heroes in industry, used for producing antibiotics, vitamins, turning milk into curd, and even in environmental cleanup operations like bioremediation. Their roles are truly multifaceted and impact nearly every aspect of life on Earth. Now, let's tackle some hard-level questions. First, list 3 key differences between Archaebacteria and Eubacteria. Second, describe how methanogens derive energy and their typical habitat. Third, explain the ecological role of nitrogen-fixing bacteria. Fourth, name 2 human bacterial diseases and 1 beneficial application of bacteria. Fifth, what are the 4 basic shapes of bacteria? Sixth, explain the principle of Gram staining and how it differentiates bacteria. And finally, why are Archaebacteria considered extremophiles? Provide an example of an extreme environment they inhabit. Welcome to the hardest level. Here, we'll push the boundaries of your knowledge, exploring competitive depth, evolutionary insights, and the intricate engineering of the microbial world. Get ready for a deep dive. Kingdom Monera holds immense evolutionary significance, representing the earliest forms of life that emerged billions of years ago. Their simple prokaryotic structure and diverse metabolic pathways laid the groundwork for all subsequent life. Early Earth was anoxic, devoid of free oxygen. The advent of photosynthetic bacteria, particularly cyanobacteria, was a game changer. Through photosynthesis, they began releasing oxygen into the atmosphere, triggering the Great Oxidation Event. This monumental shift transformed Earth's environment, making aerobic respiration possible and paving the way for the eventual evolution of complex eukaryotic life. Understanding this historical context is crucial to appreciating their foundational role. Let's examine some advanced metabolic pathways, which are true marvels of biological engineering. Chemosynthesis, vital in environments without light, involves bacteria oxidizing inorganic compounds to generate energy. For instance, nitrifying bacteria like Nitrosomonas and Nitrobacter are crucial architects of the nitrogen cycle, transforming ammonia into nitrites and then nitrates, making nitrogen available to plants. Then there's nitrogen fixation, the conversion of atmospheric nitrogen gas into ammonia, a process exclusively carried out by prokaryotes. This complex reaction is catalyzed by the nitrogenase enzyme complex, a highly sensitive molecular machine composed of iron and molybdenum-iron proteins. This enzyme is extremely vulnerable to oxygen, requiring specialized adaptations like heterocysts in cyanobacteria or strict anaerobic conditions to function. This intricate machinery allows life to tap into the vast atmospheric nitrogen reservoir. Bacterial classification extends far beyond simple shapes and gram staining. Modern microbiology utilizes sophisticated techniques for a deeper understanding. Phylogenetic classification, for instance, relies heavily on comparing 16S ribosomal RNA gene sequences. These genes are conserved enough to show evolutionary relationships, yet variable enough to differentiate species. We also classify bacteria based on their metabolic diversity, distinguishing between obligate aerobes, anaerobes, and facultative anaerobes, or categorizing them by how they obtain carbon and energy. This leads to the recognition of specialized groups like the extremophiles within Archaebacteria. Halophiles, like Halobacterium, thrive in incredibly salty conditions. Thermoacidophiles, such as Thermoplasma, flourish in hot, acidic environments. And methanogens, like Methanobacterium, produce methane in anaerobic habitats such as swamps and the guts of ruminants. These classifications reveal the incredible adaptability and specialization within the Monoran kingdom. A critical aspect of bacterial evolution and a global health challenge is horizontal gene transfer, or HGT. Unlike the vertical gene transfer from parent to offspring, HGT is a form of natural genetic engineering where bacteria directly exchange genetic material. This occurs via three main mechanisms: conjugation, where DNA is transferred directly through a pilus; transformation, where bacteria take up naked DNA from their environment; and transduction, where bacteriophages, or bacterial viruses, act as vectors to transfer DNA. HGT is a primary driver of the rapid spread of antibiotic resistance. Genes conferring resistance, such as those for antibiotic-degrading enzymes or efflux pumps, can quickly move between different bacterial species. Understanding these mechanisms is paramount for developing new antimicrobial strategies and combating the rise of superbugs, which pose a severe threat to public health worldwide. Let's tackle the first 5 hardest level questions. First, discuss the pivotal role of photosynthetic monorans in the oxygenation of Earth's early atmosphere. Second, describe the enzymatic machinery involved in biological nitrogen fixation and explain its oxygen sensitivity. Third, beyond morphology and gram staining, what advanced molecular technique is effective for bacterial phylogenetic classification and why? Fourth, explain the three main mechanisms of horizontal gene transfer in bacteria. And fifth, how do chemosynthetic bacteria contribute to nutrient cycling in aphotic environments? Think critically about these complex concepts. continuing with questions 6 through 10 for the hardest level. Sixth, compare and contrast the cell membrane lipid structures of Archaebacteria and Eubacteria, explaining its significance for archean extremophily. Seventh, detail the specific adaptations that allow halophilic archaea to thrive in high salt concentrations. Eighth, discuss the implications of horizontal gene transfer for the rapid evolution of antibiotic resistance, providing an example of a resistance mechanism. Ninth, from an engineering perspective, analyze the challenges and solutions involved in biological nitrogen fixation. And finally, 10th, explain how the presence of plasmids can confer an evolutionary advantage to bacteria, especially in challenging environments. These questions require deep analytical and theoretical understanding. And that brings us to the end of our in-depth journey through Kingdom Monera. We've covered everything from basic definitions to the most complex evolutionary and biochemical insights crucial for your NEET preparations. Remember, mastering these foundational concepts will give you a strong edge. For more such engaging and comprehensive educational content, make sure to visit synapse.omaps.in. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for continuous learning. Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep aiming for success. See you in the next session.